He's back to pass. Pressure coming. He's going to get hit in the end zone. That's going to be a safety.
It's now time for Gridiron State of the Union.
Another touchdown, Porter Ridge, and they've gone up. The score is 23-17.
Presented by DMR Reconstruction, North Carolina's leader in quality insurance restoration services, with crews on standby 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. DMR Reconstruction has your restoration needs covered. Give them a call at 704-327-4028.
He's going to hand it off to Byram. Byram on the right-hand side. He's going to be into the end zone. Touchdown, Monroe.
Gridiron State of the Union is your insider's look each week into Union County High School football.
Malcolm fires one off, and it's into the end zone. Touchdown, Piedmont.
Now we head into the DMR Reconstruction Studio, and your host, Brian Stevenson.
In the headlines this week, Monroe stunned Sun Valley last week with a dominating performance. Piedmont squeaked by Central Academy, and Parkwood and Union Academy came away with victories as well. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Gridiron State of the Union. I'm your host, Brian Stevenson. This week, 6 Union County teams have a bye week before they start conference play next week. But there are still 5 games going on, and we've got the report on those. Starting off in our look around Union with tonight's WIXC Game of the Week and Sideline Mike, who's with Piedmont.
Piedmont has one more tune-up before starting conference play. Tonight, they host West Stanley. Last week, the Panthers beat Central Academy 17-7 in a game where the Panthers only scored 1 touchdown on offense. Quarterback Cameron Tripp was banged up in the first quarter and missed the first half. He was able to return, but the offense struggled against the Cougar D. Tonight's opponent, the West Stanley Colts, have struggled this season, and they come into tonight's game 1-4. We will have all the action live on the Mighty 1190 as it's our WIXC Game of the Week. Kickoffs at 7:30. And now to Game 2 of our doubleheader and Reed Alexander, who's with Porter Ridge.
The Porter Ridge Pirates are coming off the bye at 3-2. 2 weeks ago, they fell to Sun Valley in their last tune-up game before conference play. Tonight, they welcome traditional powerhouse Independence to town for the start of the Southwestern Conference play. The Pirates, they've looked like real contenders at times this year, ready to battle for the conference crown. Tonight's game should be a real test for the Pirates, and you'll hear it all as Game 2 of our WIXC doubleheader tonight. That's all from Porter Ridge. Now let's send it to Chris Rogers, who has a report from Union Academy.
The Union Academy Cardinals had a big victory over South Stanley last week, 35-0. That win brings the Cardinals to 3-2 on the year, 2-1 in the Yadkin Valley 1A Conference. Coach Brad Hoover's D is looking strong. They have shut out 2 of their last 3 opponents and are only allowing 12.4 points per game. That defense will be put to the test tonight when they hit the road again, this time to Mount Gilead, North Carolina, to face the West Montgomery Warriors. West Montgomery is 4-1 with a 2-0 conference record in the Yadkin Valley Conference. And that's the story on Union Academy. Now off to Derek Skinner, who has the report with Weddington.
The Weddington Warriors are coming off of the bye week at 4-1 and have been the class of the county so far this season. The Warriors defense has been great this year. They're giving up just 9.6 per game. 2 weeks ago, they shut out Parkwood, a game in which the offense scored 37 points. Tonight's opponent will be a good test for the Warriors. Charlotte Country Day is 4-1. The Buccaneers' only loss was a 1-point heartbreaker to powerhouse Charlotte Catholic. Game time tonight in Weddington at 7:30. That's the report on the Warriors. And now to Ken Ogden, who has the story on Marvin Ridge.
Marvin Ridge is trying to bounce back tonight against Victory Christian. Last week, the Mavericks fell to one of the best teams in the area at Davidson Bay, 45-0. Offense has been a struggle for all but one game this season for Marvin Ridge. They have been shut out twice. A win tonight could get the Mavericks back on track before the start of Southern Carolina Conference play next week. That's the story from Marvin Ridge. And now, back to the studio and Brian Stevenson.
Thanks a lot, Ken. Coming up next on Gridiron State of the Union, WIXC's Shane Green joins me for our roundtable segment. And later on in the show, I'll talk with head coach of the Yellow Jackets, John Lowry.
Hey folks, Shane here. If any of you have ever played high school football, the number one thing you want to do is win the game. You're going to find yourself in the red zone on occasion. That's that final 20-yard stretch between you and 7 points, or between you and a victory, or between you and a defeat. Now, you're only as good as your quarterback. So let's imagine that damage to your home is the red zone. You got fire damage, water, wind, or mold damage. Who do you want on your team, and who do you want the quarterback to be? Well, the team you want is DMR Reconstruction. Tim Farmer is easily the quarterback you want calling the plays in this situation. Folks, they'll help you deal with the insurance adjusters. They'll take care of the damage. They'll fix it back to way better than it was before it ever even happened. It's DMR Reconstruction. Tim Farmer's your quarterback. They are the leader in the red zone. They'll take care of the problem. They'll help you deal with the insurance adjuster 24 hours a day. Call 704-327-4028. 327-4028. They're the proud sponsors of the Gridiron State of the Union on the Mighty 1190.
Welcome back to Gridiron State of the Union. I'm joined now by Shane Green, and I tell you what, Shane, we are about 7 weeks into this thing, and it's been a good year so far for Union County High School football.
It's been an odd year is what it's been, because you come into the season, I think Porter Ridge is going to be down. They win a couple of big games. Then they go and you look at Weddington. They're number one on our power rankings. And you say, well, you know, how good of a job is Weddington doing? Then you look at Sun Valley, and it's amazing. Sun Valley beats Porter Ridge, turns around, gets thumped by Monroe, and you can't make sense of any of it, and it really doesn't seem to matter whether it's the SCC or the Rocky River. There are Rocky River teams every bit as good as SCC teams and vice versa. So I don't know what to say. I really don't.
Well, and it's a good point, and one you didn't bring up. A couple of my observations from so far is, Forest Hills 1-5. We're talking to Coach Lowry in the next segment. The best 1-5 team we've seen, and then Piedmont seems to really be on the rise. And then you've got also take a look at Central Academy. They've got a great defense, so it has been an odd year.
It's been a fun year to do football, and it's been one of those seasons where sometimes in the past you start early in the year and within 2 games who are going to be the 2 or 3 teams to watch. That's out the window this year.
What has been your most enjoyable moment so far this year? You've seen some pretty good ones.
I have, and it probably the Monroe and Sun Valley game, because Monroe was down, and we talked all week about them having some guys injured, and they got 5 or 6 guys out, and they came out and just played a flawless football game.
What do you make of that? I mean, we all just scratched our heads when we saw that. The Sun Valley, and especially with Albert, to only score 3 points.
It's coaching. That game came down to Coach Johnny Sal, period. He came out, he put a freshman quarterback in who nobody had ever seen play. They didn't throw the ball. They ran the ball the entire game, played good defense, and Sun Valley really never had a chance in the game because they didn't practice for the way Monroe played.
Well, last thing here, Piedmont tonight is your game, West Stanley, and we're getting ready for conference play here, getting ready to ramp up once they get through this week.
Well, I haven't had a chance to see Piedmont play yet, so I'm real curious about getting to see them. They've improved by leaps and bounds. They've done some conditioning and strength training. I'm curious to see how they play.
Well, Shane, we appreciate you joining us here on our roundtable segment. Coming up next on Gridiron State of the Union, the coach of the Yellow Jackets, John Lowry.
Shane here. Imagine this. It's the end of the game. 5 seconds left. You're in the red zone. You have a chance to call one play. You're either going to win or lose the game with this play. All right, at this point, who do you want your team to be, and who do you want your quarterback to be? Imagine the red zone is damage to your home. Fire, water, wind, or mold damage. You want DMR Reconstruction as your team, and you want Tim Farmer as your quarterback, because he has a darn near perfect completion ratio when he's in the red zone. Folks, they'll call the right play every time. They'll come in, they'll take care of the problem, they'll help you deal with the insurance adjusters, and your home is going to look better than it ever has before. So if you're in the red zone with your home, and it's fire, water, wind, or mold damage, you need the team that can win the game. It's DMR Reconstruction. 704-327-4028, 327-4028. Available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They're the proud exclusive sponsor of the Gridiron State of the Union on the Mighty 1190.
Welcome back to Gridiron State of the Union, and I'm joined now by Coach John Lowry of the Forest Hills Yellow Jackets. And Coach, you finally have the bye week. You get a chance to rest up and heal up. But let's talk about a couple things. First of all, we've said it on our broadcast all along. This is the best 1-5 team. I know it sounds strange to say that I've ever seen. You guys have some good elements.
We've got some really talented players in certain spots, Brian. We've got some weak links. There's no question about that. But one of the things that's been devastating to us is our injuries, and and we've played each week, seem like with a different kid in a different spot, and that's difficult. But overall, I think that we've got some good parts. We've just got to fix and work on some of the lesser parts and hope that we can stay injury-free. We're starting to get back a few kids now. Our schedule's been very difficult, and that hasn't helped for this particular season. But I want to play good people. I want to play people that can beat us. I want to challenge our kids every week, and to me, that's what the non-conference schedule's for. And fortunately for us, we do have open weeks, so that gives us a little time to heal. And also, basically, you start a whole new season. You can be 5-0 or 6-0, whatever, and go in the conference and not play good in the conference, and it makes no difference. The preseason games or the non-conference games, that's more for paper and for media than it is for us.
Well, I know, CJ, that was week one, quarter one. That, when things like that happen, does it just seem like this has kind of been a perfect storm of a lot of things this year?
Perfect storm. That's a good way of saying it, and it's. Sometimes I look up at the sky and wonder if the sky's falling. Like what's going to happen next? But in football, you go through years that you have no injuries, and then you go through other years and it just seems to pile up one after another, no matter what you do. And this has been one of those years. But, the CJ thing, CJ Carroll is a good running back for us and an outstanding talent, a young man. But he went down, and we were all counting on that, not just the coaches but the players. And they know what a blow that is. It's hard to run a game. You take a kid that's 1,500 yards or something like that last year as a junior, you expect him to come in this year, a sophomore, you expect him to come in this year and really be a power and carry a lot of load for you. And that's hurt us some. But you can't live off of that. He's going to get well and he's going to get operated on, be fine and play another year. But we've got to do some things different, and we had to change our offense somewhat. And that's been a little bit of a struggle, but overall, we'll overcome that. There's some brighter days.
Tell me about the team, because every team handles adversity and things differently, but they know the history too and what they're capable of. Tell me how they're handling this, especially having this week to kind of just kick back and get down to some basics.
It's really been that. I think the open week has been good for us. I'm not really a fan of open weeks most years, but this has been a good one for us because we do need to get healed. And that's a great question. We live in a quick fix society or an instant gratification society, and I think our kids have handled where we're at record-wise. I think they've handled that pretty good. I think they know that we play some tough people. I know that they know that's our philosophy. We told them that from day one. But I think the hard part is that the community sometimes and uncles and aunts and some of their friends, they don't see it that way. And so it's difficult for the kids. They've practiced well. We think we're continuing to learn and get better, but it does play on your mind. I mean, there's no question about that. And where I worry most about that is that when they leave the football field or the practice area or wherever we're at, and they hear people pushing them or, poking at them a little bit or making comments, those comments are hard to overcome sometimes. And we have to keep a clear mind and keep our mind focused on what we're doing so that we can accomplish what we hope to accomplish at season's end.
Well, Coach, no doubt the season starts over. You guys are definitely a favorite to be contenders for that conference championship, and we appreciate you joining us here on Gridiron State of the Union.
Thanks a bunch, man. I appreciate what y'all do for high school football in Union County. We know that we've got a clean slate now. What's happened in the past is past. You can't change that, but we got a clean slate, and it's just time for us to go out and do some good things.
Thanks a lot, Coach Lowry, for being on our Coach's Corner segment this week. Time now for our look at the UC Preps Phenomenal 5. Coming in at number 5 this week, Porter Ridge. Number 4, Sun Valley. Number 3, Piedmont. Number 2, Monroe. And holding on to the top spot, the Weddington Warriors.
Time for Extra Points.
In my Extra Points tonight, 6 teams have a bye week, all getting ready for conference play. And just as we have talked about many times on this show, those conference games will be the ones that count. And in just a few weeks, we could very easily be looking at teams like Forest Hills, who only has 1 win, playing for conference championships. And with that, we are all out of time. It's going to be a beautiful night, so head out to high school football games and enjoy the action. And if you can't make it to the game, tune in to the Mighty 1190 WIXC or listen on the web at WIXC.com. We have examined the state of our union, and I can report it is good. Good night, everybody.